Healing from narcissistic abuse, cognitive dissonance and cognitive consonance. This video is inspired by another therapist I watched this morning, and I may or may not tag them. I'm going to ask their permission first. Now, first off, my approach to cognitive dissonance that we get after one of these relationships is not traditional, but it works. In essence, I agree with this creator. I do not approach it directly, not even gently. That would be what I would think a useless way of doing things, because that's top down. That's trying to address someone's thinking to change how they feel. But when it comes to trauma, that doesn't work. That's because 80% of the information going between body and brain goes body to brain, not the other way around. The approach I use involves brain spotting inherently and parts spotting or parts work. It's like internal family system, working with subpersonalities and attachment wounds. This is complete and utter healing, and I don't think it would work without the brain spotting. Just saying. First of all, what is the cognitive dissonance? Well, cognitive dissonance is a state of tension in someone where one way of thinking exists, but then a polar opposite one does exist as well. And that could include feeling too. So the person's in a state of tension and distress. They can tell that the psyche wants to resolve this and reconcile this, but for some reason it's just not happening. CBT and top-down approaches are akin to saying, come on, reconcile it, come on, do it. It's actually kind of ridiculous if you think about it, particularly when you know what's going on underneath. So, what is going on underneath? The person brought with them attachment wounds, into the relationship that pre-existed the relationship. And these attachment wounds are all guarded by protector parts. Underneath these parts is a core self that is undamaged. And yet, this person is going about their lives before they meet the narcissist, and they're blending with these parts, sort of almost becoming them in various moments when something happens that triggers these wounds, and these parts need to come in and sort of defend them. The coming in and out of blending with these parts will present as mild CPTSD symptoms that the person carried into the relationship. Maybe someone finds it hard to accept praise, constantly puts other people's needs above their own, or maybe they get hypersensitive to criticism when someone criticizes their cooking. These protector parts are protecting very young versions of us. The younger they are, the closer they are to the place the narcissist is stuck in, the paranoid schizoid position. The younger they are, the more of the primary ego defenses associated with that earlier time the victim is going to be a bit more dependent on here and there. One of these primary ego defenses that the victim will be carrying before they meet the narcissist and will be employing here and there in their lives is idealization. This will show up in a number of ways. One will be a desire for quite innocent, pure, ideal love. It might also show up in quite a heavily romantic side, in a penchant for novels and movies that involve examples of this very pure, ideal love too. And that's okay, alright? So when the narcissist presented this to you, because they were watching what it was that you wanted and how they could mold themselves to you to be this perfect, ideal example of ideal love, your parts opened. They dropped their defensive measures and allowed this person in. It was like, at last! This is why it messed you up so much when they started devaluing you and slowly destroyed you. This is why your young parts will still, on occasion or quite a lot, be still thinking about them and yearning for them, despite the fact that other parts of you hate them. The parts that hate them, they're slightly older than the parts that continue to idealize. Now, in the healing, it's not that we want all of them to join the hateful ones. No, the hateful ones need to grow up too. And how do you do that, like I said, without even trying? With brain spotting. Working with the client's parts, helping them deal with these parts is really rewarding at times. It really can be. But the breakthroughs are not consistent. When you're using brain spotting, they much more are consistent. When working raw dog, just you and them just talking and trying to work with the parts in that way, the parts can turn away and they can just dissolve into the background very easily. But with brain spotting, it's like the brain spot kind of holds them in place, holds them in the light. It's actually like the parts want to be there, they want to be present, they want to heal. They want to be seen, they want to be appreciated for the protective role that they've been carrying out for the person all these years. Okay, how is this cognitive consonance reached? It's reached when one of the young parts within you completely down tools and unburdens. When this happens, there is now a chance for this part of your psyche to adopt a new role, but also to do something really amazing, to mature, to reach towards the chronological age. And that's not in cognitive terms, that's in emotional terms. This means they grow. They grow beyond the need for the primary ego defense idealization, which means they start to grow beyond the need for ideal love. This slowly means that the brain on its own now, freed from that thing, well, it starts to grow beyond the bullshit that the narcissist sold to us. Cognitive dissonance ends. Apathy starts to reign. An appreciation of yourself starts to reign. You start to see yourself as you are, and you start to see the narcissist as they are. This type of new clarity is not cognitive in nature. It is emotional. It is an emotional embodied truth. Because we're not singular beings, there is not a single trauma bond. It is multiple. So this means you have to work with multiple parts within the person in this way over time for them to be completely free. They're now not just free from the narcissist, they're free from a need to be in relationships. They can choose to be in relationships. They don't have to have them. The cognitive dissonance was never directly addressed. It didn't need to be. What needed to be addressed was the underlying cause. The slight dependency that the client had on idealization and concepts of ideal love that the narcissist took advantage of. When that dependency is released, willingly, this just happens automatically. I hope this helps. Bye for now.